Theme: simplicity, discontent, and the rise of greed. Herman was a fisherman, not by choice, but by circumstance. He lived in a tiny coastal village, where the ocean whispered secrets, and the wind carried tales of kings and palaces far away. His house was nothing more than a lopsided wooden hut, patched with hope and rusted nails. It leaned to one side, as if it too was tired of standing still in one place. Each morning, Herman would wake before the sun, trudge down the uneven rocky path with his fishing net slung over his shoulder, and greet the sea with a grunt. He would throw in his line and wait, sometimes for hours, under the scorching sun or in misty rain. Some days, he'd come home with a handful of fish, other days, with none at all. But Herman's heart was never full. Not with the fish, not with the sea, and not even with Greta, his soft-spoken wife who, despite the cracks in their roof and the missing tiles on their floor, managed to find beauty in the smallest things. She hummed while sweeping the dust, baked warm bread from scratch, and always saved the best part of the fish for Herman. Still, Herman often sighed, loudly. He'd complain about their life, about how others had more. If I had married someone wealthier, maybe I'd be living in a stone house with candles that never burned out. Greta never responded with bitterness. She'd simply say, "But you have a wife who loves you. That's a kind of wealth too, isn't it?" Herman would scoff. Love doesn't buy firewood. But everything changed one stormy morning. Herman had been fishing all day with no luck. The wind howled, and his net was empty. Just as he was about to give up, something tugged hard, almost ripping the rod from his hands. He pulled with all his might, and out came a fish. Not just any fish, but a gleaming, talking fish. "I am no ordinary fish," it said, its voice soft like wind chimes. "I am enchanted. Spare me, and I shall grant you a wish." Herman blinked. "A wish?" "Yes," the fish replied. "One wish now. But if you return, I may grant more." Without thinking much of it, Herman said, "I wish for a better house. Something with walls that don't leak and windows with glass." The fish nodded and vanished beneath the waves. Herman hurried home, expecting nothing. But when he reached the hill, his jaw dropped. The old hut was gone. In its place stood a charming cottage, with flowers on the windowsill, and a roof strong enough to withstand a hurricane. Greta was standing on the porch, calmly stirring a pot of soup. She looked neither shocked nor overwhelmed. "Our house changed," Herman gasped. Greta smiled. "Yes, but you haven't." Herman was annoyed. He thought she'd be happier, but she only seemed neutral. A week passed. Herman started noticing that the neighbor's house was bigger. Their gate was iron. Their dog had a diamond collar. The flame of envy flickered inside him. He returned to the sea. Theme: realization, humility, and the power of gratitude. The next morning, Herman stood on the palace balcony overlooking his lands, but he felt nothing. No joy, no thrill, just an aching emptiness. He looked at Greta, beautiful in her gown, but smiling less than ever. The castle echoed with silence. No laughter, no warmth. Herman realized something terrible. He had everything, yet nothing felt right. But instead of stopping, he pushed further. He returned to the sea one last time, his royal cloak dragging through the sand. "Fish," he shouted into the roaring waves, "I want to be a god. Let the sun rise at my command." The sea was still for a moment. Then a storm erupted. Lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder boomed like 1,000 drums. The waves grew taller, crashing around him. And finally, the fish appeared, older now, slower. "You've asked for power," it said. "You were given more than most could imagine. Yet, you lost the most precious thing." "I want it all," Herman yelled over the wind. "I want control over life and death." The fish's eyes dimmed. And what of love? What of peace? What of the smile of the woman who shared her bread when you had none? The wind silenced. "I cannot grant you godhood," the fish whispered. "But I can give you what you truly need." The sea swallowed the fish, and everything went dark. When Herman opened his eyes, he was back in his old hut, the patched roof, the rickety door, the wooden spoon. Greta was humming in the kitchen, stirring fish stew in a clay pot. Herman fell to his knees. "I'm so sorry." I didn't see how much we had until it was gone. Greta turned, her smile returning, not the one she wore for kings and lords, but the one he fell in love with. We never lost it, Herman. You just stopped looking. From that day, Herman never returned to the sea for wishes. He woke early, kissed Greta's cheek, caught what fish he could, and came home in time for dinner. They had no servants, no gold, and no palace. But they had something far richer: peace. They laughed again. They cried together. They walked hand in hand during sunsets. And each night, under the same stars that once watched them in silence, Herman finally understood. True wealth is not in what we have, but in who we share it with.